Howdy. Welcome to, I don't know, new series in a sense. I did one of these videos shortly before I left, and I had the idea after I did that video, and shockingly it kind of performed well on my YouTube, that it would be a good idea for me once I'm back from my trip to do kind of weekly check-ins. For me, in the sense of a reflection, but also as a practice to be on camera once a week talking about things, and continue being comfortable with that, because that was a big fear of mine going into the trip to Sierra Leone and Liberia, that I haven't been on camera for a year. This could be really tough, which I'll get into in a little bit, what it actually was like. But yeah, I kind of want to just do these as a weekly check-in. I think they'll be really cool for myself more than anyone to, over the course of the year, kind of check in. Yeah, and kind of just express gratitude for the week and just allow myself to talk. So I did write stuff down on a piece of paper because I want to be able to do these kind of in a concise way, not just ramble on forever, and, you know, get to the point on things and get it going. So I'm back from my trip from Sierra Leone and Liberia. As always, it's an unbelievable experience in that part of the world. Funny enough, as you can see behind me, it is cloudy. I haven't seen the sun since I've been in Africa. I got back on Monday. I left on Sunday. It is now Friday. I haven't seen the sun in almost a week. A whole week, and it was in a different part of the world. So that's kind of goofy. Sometimes I'm really like, this place sucks, but I guess that can be anywhere. So getting into it, I had a couple things I wanted to talk about this week for my check-in. The first one is taking risks and investing in friends. And this is something I thought about even before the trip, something that I did do before the trip, and something I've been doing over the last couple years. Taking risks is something that I've really prioritized ever since I graduated college. I guess even in college you could say I took a lot of risks, but after college I took the leap of faith to really begin traveling, dive deeper into creating my business of Manatee Media, as well as my music project, which I'll talk about shortly. But I went in December of 2020 and I traveled back to West Africa, my second time in Sierra Leone, and many people could argue that that was a risk. We were during a global pandemic. Many people from this part of the world say that West Africa, or have the perception that it's very unsafe, that people are not friendly, this, that, and the other thing. There's all these perceptions, but I think that's, frankly, I think, at least in my experience, that's what a lot of people in the US have about countries and cultures outside the US, specifically people who have never traveled themselves, but that's a whole other topic in itself. But I've taken a lot of risks this past year to do what I did, to begin building my other program, my foundation, my organization, Walk for a Child. Huge risk. It took me working 7 days a week to just make enough money to get over there. That also took me going further into debt. At this point financially, which I'll talk a little bit about, I don't sit in a great spot. I sit in a spot that many people would probably look down upon, many people would probably criticize, many people would have a lot of fear and discomfort about. But over the last couple of years, I've grown a lot in my relationship to money and being able to have a sense of, I guess, control on my emotion around money, and understanding that money is important. It's what runs our world. It's everything, frankly. You can consider it evil, or you can see value in it. It's two sides to every coin. I think I lived a lot of my life seeing a lot of evil in money. It's bad. It's horrible. People that have money are evil, this, that, and the other thing. And then getting out of college, I'm like, all right, if I'm going to hold any kind of opinion, I should probably see the other side of the coin and at least gain some perspective. And saw the other side of that coin, and I don't know, I see a lot of value in money, and I see a lot of value in monetary wealth. It's not 100% my primary priority, but I think that I always ask the question to a lot of my friends, if all of us were millionaires, billionaires, whatever you have you, with the ideas we have, with the things we want to do you think the world would be a better place? I think yes. I think a lot of us, if we had money and the financial freedom to do the things that we really are passionate about and desire to do, I think the world would be a really great place. I don't think the world can ever be perfect, but I think it would be better, especially within our own communities. So I'm starting to ramble here, and I'm trying to pull myself back in on what exactly I'm getting here. Risks. Going to Sierra Leone was definitely a risk financially. It took everything I got. It took 7 days a week. It took getting further into debt. And there's one thing specifically I did, which I haven't really told anyone. And I didn't really tell anyone because being 26, there's certain things I've kind of learned in my 20s. And granted, I'm only 6 years in, so I still got 4 years. But sometimes when you have ideas, it's really easy to tell a lot of people to get excited about it, and that's really important, to be excited about your ideas. But it's also really important to be conscious and critical about who you share those ideas with. And sometimes I've learned that you need to kind of think of a few people in your life who you want to share those ideas with, and the way in which that they receive and respond to those ideas. Because if you share your ideas with, let's say, 10 people, one of them is like, this is an awesome idea, I really support you, here's even some feedback on the idea, and the other 9 just give you negative feedback, it's probably going to change your perspective about your idea. And frankly, at least for me, sometimes my ideas are just better kept up in the old noggin, or my ideas are better kept in here, and the way you'll see my idea is just my action and my effort I put towards them. So one of those things I did is, I have a good friend of mine who you will see in the upcoming series from Sierra Leone that goes by the name of Matthew Sweetman. He's a brother of mine, someone I consider a best friend. I've known him since I was 19 years old, so almost 7 years now, which is insane. And we met in college through a travel program on our campus that did service programs, leading students. It was a student-led program leading other students on these service projects. He has been to Bolivia, he went to Houston, I forget where else he went. Quail Springs, California was his first ever one. He also spent a year in China through study abroad, traveled all over Southeast Asia there, so he's been around the block. We've always talked about, we got to travel together. That would be so cool for us to travel together. Another thing that, I think these reflections will be cool is, I think I'll learn about I think I will learn more about myself, and I think whoever watches these will learn more about me. But I've struggled a lot in my lifetime with male relationships, good male relationships, and I'm kind of realizing in the past year I've actually have a few solid male relationships, which I'm so grateful. I've had a ton of great women in my life, female relationships, all of that. But male relationships, I've kind of struggled. But I got a couple solid people. And if you're watching, I'm telling you right now, you know who you is. That being said, Mr. Matthew, you are one of them. You have been a good friend of mine. We laugh a lot of times because we have seen each other over the past 7 years literally grow up in front of each other's eyes. We've seen the good, we've seen the bad, we've seen the ugly in ourselves, in each other, and the world around us. It's been nuts, literally crazy. From our individual lives to each other's lives to the collective world, everything, it's been bonkers. And so we kept talking about, we gotta travel together. And so I made this big, what many people might call a risk. My mind, my perspective, I just see as an investment. And I made a deal with my friend, Matthew. And I said, okay, Matthew, I'm gonna make you a deal. You got 5 to 10 years to pay me back. But I'm gonna buy your plane ticket, and you're coming with me to Sierra Leone, and you're gonna do this walk, and you're gonna see the program that I'm building, Walk for a Child, in Sierra Leone. You're gonna come with me and do this. We've been talking about for years, if we don't act now, we're gonna be 26, 27, 28, 29. We're gonna be in our 30s and we've never done it. The plane ticket, $1,500. Did I have the money for it? No. Again, like I said, certain aspects of the last year, I was working really hard to make the money for that trip, but I went even further into debt in some aspects of it. Again, you can look at it as a risk, or you can look at it as an investment. And it all comes down to kind of, you know, your own personal relationship with money, your perspective, and the emotions that you hold with it. That being said, in the grand scheme of life, it's $1,500. It's going to get paid off. But the experience that we had, which you'll see in the upcoming series, you can't put a dollar value on that. I've learned more in the past 3 weeks about myself and about Matthew and about so many things that I couldn't get for $1,500. I don't know if I could pay anything to get those. The experience that we had over there solidified, it's like, man, this is someone in my life who is gonna be there for a long time. You know, Matt, if you end up watching this, I could go on and ramble, but simply put, I'm glad that you allowed me to take a risk on you because you have taken a risk on me. And a lot of this stems back to something that happened in the past year of my life. And I've mentioned him before in the last video kind of I did this reflection, which is the guy I work with, my good friend and brother, Mr. Max. And in many ways, I look at what he did, offering me a job with his company. That's a huge risk, but that's also a huge investment. And I would confidently say, some days I'm like, I don't know, confidently I would say that it was a good risk for Max to take, and it's been a good investment because I think I've shown to him the value that I can provide to him, to our company, and to the community that we're forming. Having had someone in my life, someone who's the same age as me, say, you know what, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take money, and it's gonna take a whole heck of a lot of patience, but I'm gonna invest into this kid because I see what he's doing and I think there's some value in it. For someone my age, for Mr. Max to see that in me, holy smokes, man. There's not really anyone in my life that's done that. That's a life-changing thing for someone to do that in my life, to see that in me. That's huge. So now that that's been done to me, I come to the idea that if you don't have friends in your life that are willing to take huge risks and investments in you, and you yourself don't have friends in your life that you're not willing to take huge risks on and you're not willing to invest into, you gotta start asking yourself the question, brother or sister, who you got in your life, son? And if you're not willing to take that risk, you're not willing to take that investment, you gotta start looking around you. Again, it depends on your goals, but you know, I'm trying to build something big here. That being said, I bought Matthew's plane ticket, and we went to Sierra Leone. So having done that now, and again, I had one friend, I had a good friend of mine who I love to death, but her perspective was a little different on it. You know, she kind of looked at it as like, she told me many times, you're crazy. I think those were the words. I don't know, at least that's what I kind of vaguely remember, but I think her perspective was like, that's crazy. Why would you do that? What happens if he doesn't pay me back? What happens if he doesn't pay me back? Who the hell cares? We had an unbelievable experience. He's gonna pay me back. And if he doesn't, in the grand scheme of life, I get burned $1,500. Like I said, the experience I had, man, that wasn't worth any money value. You can't put a dollar value on the experience that we had over there in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, traveling together and growing our relationship as friends and brothers. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And I'm glad that we, together, Matthew allowed me to invest into him and take a risk on him. And in many times over the past 7 years, Matthew has taken a risk and put an investment into me. So to close up this kind of chapter, I think it's important for all of us to ask ourselves, who in our lives are worth taking risks on? Who in our lives are worth investing into? And who are the people in our lives that, you know, are we around people that are willing to do the same to us? Because if you have those types of people around you, there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of that. And I have to believe also that the more that you are around people that are going to invest into you, and the more that you have people around you that you're willing to invest into, it's kind of like a snowball effect. More of those people are going to start to pop up, and you're going to start to see those people, and there's going to be a lot of cool opportunities that are presented to you. So that being said, very grateful for those decisions last year, even though it did make life uncomfortable in many ways. But again, what are we here to do, especially in our 20s? Be uncomfortable, son. That's what we're here to do. The more that we can do that, the more we're gonna grow, and we're gonna see some fantastic results in the years to come. That being said, Sierra Leone recap and kind of plan for content ahead. I could speak for days on Sierra Leone, but shortly what I will say is Walk for a Child, the organization, the foundation, the program I'm building. There's like 2 or 3 things. The first thing is I feel like I was able to get a clearer vision for what I see Walk for a Child evolving into in the future. I won't really get too deep into that now because, again, as I just said in the beginning of this video, that is one of those ideas that I'm kind of keeping to myself right now. There's a couple people that I've talked to about it, but just trust that things are going to build from Walk for a Child, and there's going to be some really cool opportunities in the future for the community that comes from this, the community that comes from Manatee Music, and the community that's built by Walk for a Child. Sierra Leone, specifically Walk for a Child in Sierra Leone, as well as Liberia. The first ever time I did this walk was in January of 2021, and it was me and my brother Hindelo and 2 of the kids, 2 of his sons that he supports over there in Sierra Leone. 4 of us. We walked 315 miles across the country in 19 days. Then we went back in November 2021 and we did 540 miles. Yes, you heard that right. We're insane. 540 miles. We did 800 miles in a year. What's wrong with us? I don't know. But we went from 4 people to about 8 to 10 people. Okay? That's pretty good. That's about 100% increase if, you know, I can do math. Who knows if I can. So then we take a couple years off, 2022, 2023. We come back swinging in 2024. We ain't just doing a walk in Sierra Leone. We going to Liberia. Liberia. And we walking from Monrovia to Bo. 180 miles in 8 days. I was working with a partner organization in Sierra Leone called the Rotary Club of Bo, which I won't get too much into. It didn't really turn out to be the relationship that we were hoping for. But I'll kind of tie that into the end of this part. But we went from 8 people in the last walk to 27 this time. 27 people, and a majority of those people were brand new, and they were young people from Sierra Leone. I'm talking 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, maybe 26. A bunch of young kids from Sierra Leone. And they joined us. They, you know, heard about what we were doing. They filled out the online forum. They had interest and they had a belief, and they were willing to take a risk and put an investment into this program. They didn't know me. They didn't know Hindelo, but they just thought, you know what, maybe this is something that's worth putting my time, effort, and energy into. So the walk starts, we get a couple days into Liberia. 3 days in, we've walked about 70 miles. Insane. We've walked 3 marathons in a row. We're averaging about 4 hours of sleep a night. Not sustainable, but we get to the town right before we are about to cross the border from Liberia to Sierra Leone, this town called Tene. And we sit down that evening in Tene and we have a group reflection. That day of walking was really tough, especially for me. I felt like I was walking on like hot coals or the bones of my feet. My feet were all blistered up. It was extremely difficult. We get there around 10 a.m. I lay down on my mattress, probably till about 6 p.m. It's hot, flies are buzzing all around me, not comfortable. We have dinner and we have this group reflection. Something that I've struggled with since starting Walk for a Child is what kind of impact are we really having? You know, on social media, it always looks so cool. It's always like, oh, Dustin's going to do this really cool walk in Africa, and, you know, he's raising this awareness, and maybe we raise a little money, this, that, or the other thing. And yeah, it is cool. It's great. But there's a lot of things when you do stuff like this that you really begin to question. It's like social media creates a warped perception. We all know that. It's obvious. But going into this one, it's like, what kind of impact are we really having? We're walking to these communities. In some of the communities, we hold community ceremonies. We actually hold space to engage and talk with the community. But the next day we wake up and we keep walking, and we may not see that community again. So are we having any impact? So on that night in Tene, Liberia, 7 miles from the border of Sierra Leone, we hold a reflection as a team, and after dinner we go around the circle and we say, everyone on the team, you go around and you say one thing about what you've thought of the walk so far, what impact it's had, your thoughts about the focus of the walk being raising awareness about sexual violence and mental health. Go ahead, just share your thoughts. Tell me what you're thinking. As these kids went around the circle, they said things like, this is the first time I've ever left my home country in my entire life. I never knew that the people of Liberia are just like me. It's almost like we're the exact same people. Maybe there's some language barriers and a little bit of cultural differences, language differences and cultural differences, but they're so hospitable. They're so kind. They're so welcoming. Other people said, I never knew I could do something like this physically. This is the first time I've ever done something this physically demanding. Someone else said, once we're done with this walk, I want to take this walk and I want to do something like this in my home community. So we went around and had that group reflection. After we were done, I pulled my brother Matthew aside and I said, that right there, our job is done. Not actually, but there you go. We're having an impact. We had 27 people. I would say 15 to 18 of those people were brand new to the program this year. And they are young people within Sierra Leone who had these really cool, transformative, and insightful experiences in our program that allowed them to see something greater within themselves. And I tell them every time I go to Sierra Leone, every time I do this program, I love your country. I love your culture. I love the food. I love everything about Sierra Leone. I feel like Sierra Leone is a second home to me, truthfully. Like any country has some issues. The US has some issues. I went to India. India's got some issues. I went to Pakistan. Pakistan's got some issues. Even in Iceland, it's got some issues. But we're all young people. And, you know, a lot of times they'll tell young people, you are the future. You are the change you want to see in the world. It's cheesy, but it's accurate. And I tell the kids that were in our program, if you guys really want to see something greater for yourselves, for your community, and even as big as your country, it's all on you. And you're young, and this is the best time of your life to do these types of things and to figure out what you're made of, to see how much you can actually do, and band together and build a community within yourselves to say, hey, we can actually do something here. We can start within our own communities and we can build outward of there, and we can actually have an impact, and we can build a better future for our communities, for our villages, for our cities, and for our country. That right there, we're having an impact. Fantastic. That's so awesome. So I got a lot of closure from this trip, from this Walk for a Child event of like, okay, it's been 3 years. It's been a lot of money. It's been a lot of time. It's been a lot of miles on the road. I crossed my 1,000th mile on foot on that part of the world. It has easily been some of the, if not the most difficult thing I have done in my life, doing those 3 walks. But to sit there 7 miles from the border of Sierra Leone and Liberia and have that reflection with my team, and to hear people say, you know what, this is the first time I've done this. I learned this about myself. I believe in myself. Man, I think we're onto something, and we should continue with this. So that being said, what comes for Walk for a Child? There's a lot. I have a lot of ideas. Again, as of right now, I'm keeping a lot of those to myself, but I think there's going to be some cool opportunities even this year that are going to come from what we did in Sierra Leone and here also stateside, probably in Minnesota. In terms of content, I shot a lot of content. I shot videos every day of the walk. It's very difficult sometimes to shoot super high quality engaging content every day, especially when you're doing something so physically straining and you're low on sleep, you're walking miles upon miles, your feet are just unbelievably blistered up, you're in pain, this, that, and the other thing. But I think I did an all right job tying back to when I first started this video, this one now, and I said that I had a fear about not being on camera for a year. I went over there and I was so comfortable on camera. I finally feel like as a creator, I'm kind of stepping into this role of, I don't really care anymore what people think. Of course, there's still a little bit of layer, but I think I'm really going to push through that this year. I don't care what people think, man. I'm just going to do this and I'm going to stay consistent with it, and something beautiful is going to come of it. And the people that actually see what I'm doing and find value in it, they're going to stick around with it and they're going to grow with it, and there's going to be opportunities for all of us. So that's kind of the beauty of what came from this trip. I'm going to get working here probably in middle to end of February on that content. I have some stuff before that that I need to get done, which I'm going to talk about next. But I really think you're going to enjoy, you know, whoever is watching this in the community of Manatee Media, whoever watches those videos, I think it'll be a really cool insight into Walk for a Child. I think I got some really cool videos in Monrovia, Liberia, as well as some videos in Sierra Leone. I was able to bring my drone out there, which was incredible. I got a bunch of cool footage. So yeah, stay on the lookout for that. There's lots of videos coming. After all that content is done, again, then I'm gonna go back and go through all the content of when I went to Pakistan back in 2022. There'll be some older content, but I think it's worth putting out to the world, taking the time to make quality content and do good job storytelling. So it's gonna be a good year to start. I think I can get a lot of that content done in the first couple months of the year. And then once that's done, then we kind of start brainstorming what comes next around here. And in doing these videos, I think once I get to the point of doing content around here, I ain't even gonna be stressed because I'm doing stuff like this. Talking on camera should be a breeze. The third thing I wanted to talk about is Manatee Music. I talked about that right before I left in the same video that I did just like this, where I want to kind of bring more of that world into this world. Part of the reason why I'm taking a couple weeks before I dive into my content is because I have a project that I was working on last summer that is, say, about 75% done. And that is a brand new EP by my music project, Manatee Music. It's called the Funny Farm EP. The more that I kind of share about Manatee Music, you're going to kind of learn that Manatee Media is kind of, you know, documenting and vlogging my entire life. There's some very serious stuff. I'm going to introduce some more like lifestyle stuff, just myself. I'm a goofball, I'm silly, I'm weird. But there's also some like very heavy things that we cover. Walk for a Child is an aspect of it, where it's like we do these very physically demanding challenges, but we also cover topics that are not always easy to talk about. Sexual violence, mental health, those types of things. So Manatee Music for me, one, I love music. Two, I like making music. I love the art side of it. And I've been doing this longer than I've been doing Manatee Media and Walk for a Child. And I see some real potential in my music project. I think anyone who's doing a project, if they don't see the true success and the long-term longevity of it, you gotta question why you're doing it. But yeah, I think Manatee Music there's gonna be a lot of really cool opportunities that are going to be created in my life, and a lot of those I think are going to be because of the work that I'm doing this year. So that being said, keep your eyes peeled, your ears open, your flippers primed, because we got the Funny Farm EP coming March 2024 with 2 singles coming in February of 2024. I just released my first single of the year, Lost, yesterday. Yes, yesterday. And that song it's on all streaming platforms. It's on Apple Music, it's on YouTube Music, it's on Spotify, it's on SoundCloud, it's out there. I'll link it below in the description as well if you want to check out my music. But I guess kind of my thing with that is Manatee Music is goofy. It's a goofy side of me, but I think there's a lot of ways for me to continue storytelling and tell my story and tell my experiences through that realm and that medium of art form and creation. But yeah, I'm super excited for the Funny Farm EP. I think it's some of the best work that I've done in my own production. I have one more song to make, which is going to be a goofy song. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but just the song title alone is like, this thing's about to be a little goofy. But that being said, I'm gonna get that all wrapped up here in the next couple weeks. Hopefully in the next month I get that final song wrapped up. I got all the artwork, start doing some social media prep, and just get releasing. The cool thing is by March of 2024, that will mark, I believe, 1 year that I have released 9 original songs, all on my own, which is a super big accomplishment. I remember learning music production, and there were so many periods and times where I was completely convinced that I would never figure it out and I would never get to that point. And now I'm to the point of, do I make great music? I mean, it's all subjective, but I know how to make music. And the music I'm releasing this year is better than the music last year. And the music that I release after this EP is gonna be better than that music. And it's only gonna get bigger and better and all those things. So I'm super excited. I think it's gonna be a really good time. And hopefully people enjoy the EP and I find some growth. I get some more opportunities to play music. I guess I should mention too, I am performing in Minneapolis. If anyone from Minneapolis is watching this, or Minnesota, I play on February 10th at the Caboose. Correct. I play at the Caboose February 10th. It's a competition. I play a 30-minute set, and if you come, there's a chance to vote for me, and if I win, I get to play at a music festival in Kansas later in the year, which would be a really cool experience. Especially now that I have my own music, I think it'd be awesome to showcase my own music at a festival. So that will be February 10th. I'll also link that in the description, because that's, you know, what YouTubers do, is link in the description, the whole deal. But yeah, starting to ramble a little bit, so I'm gonna wrap this puppy up, close out for this week. What are we at? 30 minutes. All right, we're wrapping it up, getting a little off track here. I guess the final thing I want to say is it's gray, it's ugly out. The beautiful thing is it's January and it's like 30 something degrees. So that's nice. It's gonna be like 40s and 50s next week, which is insane. I think I'm gonna wear shorts to work one week, or one day of the week. But yeah, I'll check back in next Friday, do one of these check-ins again, and just kind of keep them rolling. My goal is to kind of do them every Friday afternoon. I think that's a good time to kind of close out the week. But hopefully you get some insight here into, honestly, the last month of my life. The last time that I checked in here, going all the way over to Sierra Leone, driving all the way over to Liberia, walking 180 miles back to Sierra Leone, doing a little more adventuring travels and work in Sierra Leone, and now coming back and transitioning back into what my life is here in America, in Minnesota. But I feel really inspired, and it's been a great way to start 2024. I mean, I can't really say if there's a better way to start a year other than what I've just done, and the energy and the motivation I'm feeling, I can already tell that this is going to be a good year. I think there's going to be a ton of hurdles, and I guess I don't even want to say hurdles and hardships. I think there's going to be a lot of challenges and opportunities. Maybe that's how I word it and think of it. Challenges and opportunities. There's going to be a lot of ways for me to grow this year, as there is every year, but I feel each year it's like it's only going to get better. So that being said, thanks for watching. Save the manatees. Yeah, I'll see you next week. Thank you.